Hi folks, welcome back to the channel. Today you join me down at the Caravan on a very horrible day, to be honest. So, Storm Babette, does that ring a bell? Well, we're there anyway at the van because I've got a DIY project that I want to share with you, something that you might want to consider yourself, especially if you don't have permanent USB sockets and chargers in your Caravan like I do. Now, we do have the lights with USB chargers in that we fitted in a previous video. However, we find them really irritating. The wires dangle down, you knock your phone over or whatever it is, and to be honest, they're a pain. So I wanted a dedicated actual USB charging port. Now, this is a 2018 Sprite, and the 2018 Sprite didn't come with the actual USB charging port. 2019 onwards it did. So today, if you've got a 2018 or earlier Sprite or another Caravan, in fact from a different company, that doesn't have a dedicated USB port but it has a blanking plate close by, then this is going to be something for you. So let me show you first of all where I'm going to fit it, and then I'll show you the tools and the accessories we're going to be using. Bought mine on eBay, saved myself a fortune, 55 quid at my local Caravan dealers, £16 for this one. So I'm buzzing about that. So let's get on with it. So at the front of the Caravan we have a 230 volt socket and a blanking plate next door to it. Unfortunately there's no pre-wired connections underneath here. However, what we're going to do is we're going to wire it ourselves. Now I'm going to be using the opposite side. Now to get that off, it's quite simple. Put yourself something quite flat, preferably plastic, and tease this up and it'll pop off, and it comes off like that. So I've done it earlier, so I'll show you what's underneath. So as I showed you before, I've removed the actual chrome bezel, and this is what it looks like. We've got a blanking plate and next to it a 230 volt. Swift didn't bother putting all the screws in because obviously that costs too much money, but we'll remedy that later. Now what I'm going to do is going to be removing that blanking plate and replacing that with a USB charging port. So let's show you the tools that we're going to use and also what I've bought. Okay, so this is what I brought from home. I've got various screwdrivers which are flathead and some are actually crosshead as well. We've got a voltmeter. Now if you don't have a voltmeter it doesn't matter because you're only dealing with two wires here and it's plus and minus. And if you get them the wrong way around it's just not going to work, but it may trip your fuse, so get yourself a spare fuse. Next to that we have some wire cutters and we have a crimping tool as well. Now if you don't have them you can use alternatives like pliers, etc. Below that I have some electrical wire harness tape and some electrical tape as well. Above we have these blue cable ties. They're going to be used later on. I'll show you what they're for. Next to this we've got some female spade connectors and we've got some piggyback ones as well. The piggyback ones are going to be ideal for this job that we're going to do today. And above that we've got 10 meters of 16 strand cable which is suitable for what we're going to be doing today. These here are just some spare screws and spade connectors that came with the thing that I'm going to show you now. So this is what we've bought. It's the Burka USB charger and it's 5 volt 1 amp in one charging port, and in the other it's 5 volt 2.1 amp for a faster charge. So it's ideal, and also the circular shield around it fits within the chrome bezel that we've got on the Caravan. Okay, so the dilemma was I was having difficulty finding a decent 12 volt feed that I could tap into. So what I've decided to do is this. I'm going to go from here underneath this section here to this notch here. Now that's where you feed the 230 volt cables in, so there's enough room to put my cables for 12 volt. It's going to then be fed from here along there like so, and it's actually going to then have to be fed underneath there where them cables and the hot and cold water pipes are. Now I'll explain from there where it goes, and this is the bit that's probably going to be the most difficult. So this threshold here basically is where it's like a trunking and the cables run underneath it. Now Swift, in their infinite wisdom, decided to put the actual mat over all the screws, which makes it really difficult to actually get off. So I'm hoping I can feed it without actually having to remove it. Now this is the source of where I'm going to be taking my 12 volt from, which is the 12 volt port next to the TV bracket, etc. Now in order to get to that, I'll show you where we need to get the cables to. Okay, so in the wardrobe we have this panel here. This hides most of the cables, mainly for the television, but also there's another cable feed through there as well for the 12 volt and the 230. Now what we're going to be doing is removing this panel, and behind it is the actual 12 volt socket that we need to access. And also at the base here, this continues as a hollow behind there, so you can fish the cables through. Now if we have problems, I'm going to show you what else I'm going to have to do, because this is not going to be an easy job. So if I can't feed the wires through without using any form of wire, etc., I can remove, just see there, you see the screws, there's an inspection panel there which I can remove and get access to, which is great because then I can feed the cables through myself. So that's held on by about 4 screws, so we can remove that. It means emptying Juliet's cupboard out, but I'm sure she won't mind. Okay, so to do a proper job, what we're going to have to do is remove the front locker, which is a bit of a pain, but it needs to be done nonetheless. Now, on this side you have 2 screws, one there and one at the far end over there, and they're matched on the other side. So I'm going to remove them screws and remove this cabinet so that we can get full access to the cables. Okay, so we've removed the front cabinet, and we can now see the section here where the cables are going to feed through. What I'm going to do is remove the actual blanking plate now so that it sets it up ready, but I'm going to feed the cables, I think, from the other side and then to this section. So we'll see how we get on, but I'll try that off camera and then I'll report back to you in a minute on which way is the best way to do it. Okay, so I've now removed the panel here, and as you can see, all the cables are hiding. Now the one that we're going to be looking at is in the centre, and it's quite easy to get at actually. The difficult part is if you look down there, we now have to feed a cable through there, which is quite difficult. So I've had to remove that panel inside the cupboard, so I'll show you that now. So we've removed this panel now, and as you can see, it's actually only 2 screws, which is great. So it's dead easy to get out. You do have to undo this and remember where it goes when you set it back, but just pull that back like that and out comes the panel, and now you've got access to that area, which is great, so we can feed the wires. I'm going to be lying on my stomach a lot on this job, I think. But anyway, what I'll do now is I'll prepare my wire and then we'll get it ready for feeding. So I fed the cables round and I'll show you the result in a moment. I have to say it is fiddly, and I've come up with a top tip for you as well. Now, the problem I've got now is I can't just feed that through there, the cable, and then out through there. And I can't do it the opposite way because obviously it's flowing that way. So I'm going to have to remove this. And if you just look on each side here, there's one there, and 1 and 2 there, and there's some at the front. We're going to have to unscrew this and take it off so that we can access it. And they are Phillips screws, so it's dead easy. We'll get a Phillips screwdriver and we'll remove it. I'll come back to you in a moment. Okay, so I managed to remove all the 4 screws, which was quite easy really, and what I did manage to do was actually slip it underneath here. I managed to lift that up slightly, enough for me to feed these 2 cables through and then feed them across and down the notch, and it's worked out quite well for me. What I will say is, if you're going to do the method that I've done, be careful, because you don't want to put too much pressure on this side here and snap it, because these are damn expensive, as everything is for caravans. Right, I've crimped up the 2 female spade connectors and I've fitted them. Now it's dead easy because it says plus or minus on it, so you know which way around they are. Okay, just did a bit of extra cabling for this, just so I could tuck it in. Gives us a bit more wiggle room. and it's ready to be screwed in. So I'm going to screw that in now, and then I'll come back to you when we've fitted the plate and everything's right. Well, I have tested it. In fact, just to show you on camera, I'll just switch the electric on now. And as you can see, the LED's lit, so that's wonderful. I'm really happy with that. Right, let's get it all zipped up and sorted. Okay, so what we've done now is we've fed the cables through the cowling, down here and round. Avoid the spaghetti junction at the back for the fuses for the tow bar. And coming round, I've neatly cable tied it to the existing cables, just using blue cable ties just to show you. Now this corner here where we went under the threshold of the door, my god, that is difficult. I've got a top tip for you. I remembered it from my old fishing wires through cars to fit stereos back in the day, and that is, if you can get one, get yourself a wire coat hanger like this one. Now if it's got rubber on it, strip it off so it's just a wire so it doesn't stick. This was rubberized and I had to peel it off. So put a little hook on it like that and then take the end up and then fish it through that way, and it'll save you a lot of time and aggravation, as it did me. So it's been fed through there. Let me take you into the mess that's behind there and I'll show you that now. Okay, I don't know if you can see them, but the black and red wires there, they're the ones that we've fed down through from the wardrobe. Like I say, it was very difficult, but the wire coat hanger is a really good job. It'll help you out. Now, all the cables here are for various connections. These need to be carefully put away now. They sit on top of the wheel arch safe so that when you put the panel back, they don't get jammed and snarled up. So I've got the panel to fit back on here, but let's have a look at the connection we've made in the wardrobe. Okay, so here in the wardrobe, you can see here we've got our piggyback cables. Really pleased with that. It's nice and shrouded, so it's going to protect the other wires and not cause interference, which is great. All I have to do now is put the panel back on this, and we'll have a little chat about what we've done today. Well folks, that's how I fitted the Burka 12 volt USB port in the Caravan. Really happy with the installation. It was quite difficult. First of all, you need to allocate at least a whole morning for it, or a whole afternoon, depending on what time you've got. Also, if you've got this particular van and you're going to go the same route as me, I highly recommend you get hold of one of these, which are quite rare to get hold of these days, and that's a wire coat hanger. Just unwind it, straighten it out and put a little hook on the end, and it's going to help you out, get you out of a lot of trouble. It's great. Now, in terms of cost, this came in at less than what the dealer was charging, which was £55. It was 16 quid for the Burka USB port, about the same for the wire, and I've got plenty left. I'll leave a link to both products. I got one off eBay, one off Amazon, and the piggyback spade connectors, I got them actually from Alford's, because they're the only place that stocked them at the time. They were about £4 for about 10, so you've got plenty to go at if you make a mistake. The others I actually had at home in my kit, so they cost me nothing. So all in all, it's been quite a good saving, and I'm really pleased with the result. Well folks, thank you very much for watching. I do hope you'll join us again real soon. Please like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.